When we talk about cartoons, the first show that come to mind are typically the classics: SpongeBob SquarePants, Tom and Jerry, Adventure Time. But what about this cartoon?
This night you will be visited by 3 players.
Courage the Cowardly Dog. If you were born in the 90s or the 2000s, then you must have watched or at least heard of this cartoon that was made for kids. Apparently. This cartoon right here is everything but normal. It was the type of show that you do not want to watch alone at night. Which is kind of crazy when you talk about cartoons, because cartoons were meant to be enjoyed even when alone. Courage the Cowardly Dog only consists of 3 main characters in it. First of all is Muriel, a loving and kind elderly woman who is the sweet owner of Courage, but also the wife of Eustace, who is a grumpy old man that only enjoys being an utter asshole to Courage by scaring him. And of course, there's Courage, a loving dog who is there to always save the day.
The things I do for love.
Often sacrificing his own life to save Muriel and Eustace despite always being fearful. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't blame Courage, cause have you seen these guys? What makes this cartoon so great is that it is one of the first introductions to horror for cartoons, which is really rare for its time and is really well done. But what made it so scary? Well, let's begin with the intro of the show. Unlike every other cartoon, which has a catchy tune and bright colors showing the characters in the show, displaying all the different personalities, this cartoon's intro just starts with a news broadcast that randomly cuts off a TV show that the characters are watching.
We interrupt this program to bring you Courage the Cowardly Dog Show!
Which is a kid-friendly equivalent to the modern-day analog horror.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm stroking my shit.
Technically, this cartoon founded it. Starting off with an intro like this can already give a few kids the spooks. Now onto the actual content of the cartoon. What's so scary about it? The biggest reason why this cartoon was so terrifying back in the day came down to the fact that the creator of this cartoon understood how to execute the uncanny aspect in horror. Now, before I go further, it is important for me to explain what the word uncanny means, because some of you are quite dense. Uncanny doesn't necessarily mean scary. Uncanny means the strange or mysterious, especially in an unsettling way. Being scared of something because of its danger or size doesn't mean uncanny. Uncanny is being creeped out, scared of something that doesn't have a clear or obvious danger. It wasn't the cheap jump scares, it wasn't the random screams, it was the creepiness, the music, the feeling of unease in literally most of the scenes in this show. Heck, the setting in this cartoon is located in literally the middle of nowhere.
Abandoned as a pup, he was found by Muriel, who lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband, Eustace Bay!
Every villain in this show that Courage faced has its own uniqueness to it. At the end of the day, right, it's still a kid's show, so some villains are quite goofy.
Who's got a Muriel? Who's got a Muriel? Who's got a Muriel forever? Thank you.
Which goes to a little creepy.
I'd never seen such hair before. His bangs, they sang. His neck, it beckoned. Eyebrows, armpits, all were reckoned. Soon I figured, what the heck, and guess how I was naughty.
Which goes to... absolutely terrifying. It's so weird and unsettling. The eeriness, the obliviousness of the main cast of these horrific creatures.
It's good for what's ailing you, my dear. Excuse me.
Made the show just 10 times more uncanny, and this to me is what made the show resonate with us when we were young without even knowing it. It was the mix of different art styles, scenes where everyone in was 2D drawn while the other characters were 3D, or even a whole real life being.
I ain't going nowhere!
Then you will suffer the consequences.
You got big ears, but you ain't hearing me! I ain't going nowhere!
This unexpected change in graphics was something oblivious to us when we were kids with our kids' eyes. One of the most infamous episodes is King Ramses' Curse, which of course is for a reason, right? Till this day, it is still talked about and even compared to horror movies nowadays about how scary it was. Not the cartoon shows, movies.
Return the slab, or suffer my curse.
What's your offer?
But to me personally, the scariest episode in the show, or at least the most creepiest character, would be the creature in the episode Perfect. This right here, this was peak. It gave me nightmares. What was this, bruh? What could I prepare our child brains to comprehend this monstrosity that appeared in front of us? This is how you execute horror properly. And that's just only one of many other demonic and diabolical characters in this show. Like for example, this motherfucker right here, Freaky Fred.
Was I with tender courage, and all his fur, his furry footage, which I say did encourage me to be quite naughty.
And occasionally goofy characters like Cajun Fox.
Okay, Fox, where's Muriel?
Now I do take offense, sir. I do.
And so many other kinds of original characters that only a brilliant, crazy, creative mind like John Dilworth could think of. Even though as scary as this show was, we as kids still watched it after being traumatized. Did we enjoy having nightmares? Of course not. Well, at least the majority of us, right? What made this show as popular as it is that it has balance. It wasn't just full-on horror. It had comedy in it. It had lessons to be learned at the end of every episode. It wasn't just the same repeated plot every time. It had story. It had character growth. Character traits that we as kids can relate to. Teaching us some valuable lessons like to overcome our fears in order to protect the ones that we love. Huge props to John Dilworth for his twisted yet creative mind to come out with such a masterpiece like Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I believe this show will continue to be talked about because even as of right now, 20 years after this show was ended, we are still talking about it. And no other cartoon can execute such a good balance between uncanny and comedy in a cartoon. There has a thin line between a kid's cartoon and actual horror. Even though this show got cancelled later on, it still ran for a long time. So, huge props for that. Art like this has been solidified in the upper echelons of Cartoon Hall of Fame forever.
There's no such thing as perfect. Huh? You're beautiful as you are, Courage. With all your imperfections, you can do anything.